Hi guys! Welcome back to Accounting is Easy PH. If you want to become the best accountant or bookkeeper in town, then this is a good video for you. In the previous videos, we have discussed certain topics about accounting transactions, which includes source of assets, use of assets, and exchange of assets. In this video, we will be able to learn exchange of claims, its definition, examples, and its characteristics. So, what is an exchange of claims? An exchange of claims only occur when only the liabilities and equity accounts are engaged in a specific transaction. One of the best examples of exchange of claims is the incurrence of expenses on account. We should remember that in exchange of claims, the total assets is not affected, while the total liabilities will increase with corresponding decrease in equity, or the liabilities will decrease with corresponding increase in equity, and will have no effect in the aggregated totals of the liabilities and equity account. To illustrate, let's assume the following transactions. Number 1. Invested 10,000 pesos in the business. How do we record this transaction in the accounting equation? Since the transaction is an investment of cash to the business, the cash account under the total assets will increase by 10,000 pesos, with a corresponding increase in the total equity account of 10,000 pesos. As you can see, this transaction caused the total assets and total equity to increase by 10,000 pesos. What do you think is the type of transaction? You are correct. This is a source of assets. A source of assets only happen when total assets increase and the total liabilities or the total equity also increased. Number 2, purchase of machinery, 2,000 pesos. How do we record this transaction in the accounting equation? Since the transaction is a purchase, there will be a decrease of cash amounting to 2,000 pesos, as well as an increase of machineries amounting to 2,000 pesos. Take note that in this transaction, the total assets is not affected, while the total liabilities and total equity is also not affected. What do you think is the type of transaction? You are correct. This is an exchange of assets. As previously discussed in our previous video, an exchange of asset only occur when the total asset account is not affected and the total liabilities and equity account is also not affected. But the items under the total assets either increase or decrease. Third transaction. Sold goods 6,000 pesos on account. The company sold goods but the customer did not pay. So how do we record this transaction in the accounting equation? Since the company sold goods, the equity account will increase by 6,000 pesos. The customer did not pay, so therefore, our account receivable account under total assets will also increase. As you can see, our total assets increase and the total equity also increased. So what do you think is the type of transaction? You are correct. This is a source of assets. A source of assets only happens when the total asset increase and the total liabilities or the total equity also increase. The fourth transaction is incurred salaries expenses on account 6,000 pesos. In this transaction, the company incurred salaries expenses but they were not able to pay. How do we record this transaction to the accounting equation? Since the company incurred expenses, this will be deducted to our total equity account. And because the company did not able to pay, our total liabilities will also increase. As you can see, there will be no effect to our total assets and no effect to our total equity and liabilities. What do you think is the type of the transaction? You are correct. This is the best example of exchange of claims. Please remember that in exchange of claims, our total assets and the aggregated total of liabilities and equity will not be affected. But there will be a corresponding increase or decrease in liabilities or corresponding decrease or increase in equity. For the last transaction, payment of salaries on account 5,000 pesos. In this transaction, the company decided to pay the portion of payables that they have on item number 4. So, how do you think we record this type of transaction in the accounting equation? Since the company paid cash on this transaction, our cash account will decrease by 5,000 pesos under the total assets. Since some obligations are paid, our total liabilities will also decrease by 5,000 pesos. In this transaction, the total assets and the total liabilities decreased by 5,000 pesos. What do you think is the type of transaction? You are correct. This is a best example of use of assets. Please remember that in use of assets, our total asset will decrease with a corresponding decrease in liabilities or and equity account. So what do you observe for exchange of claims? You need to remember that in exchange of claims, our asset accounts will not be affected, which also result no effect in our total asset. But it will affect total liabilities and equity inversely. Meaning that if a liability account increase, there will be a corresponding decrease in our equity account. Or if the liabilities will decrease, there will be a corresponding increase in our equity account. Ultimately, it will have no effect in our aggregated totals of liabilities and equity account and makes the accounting equation remain unchanged. And there you are! Sino nagsabing mahirap ang accounting? Mag-subscribe na sa aming YouTube page na Accounting is Easy PH at mag-like ka na rin sa aming Facebook page na Accounting is Easy PH. See you next time here in Accounting is Easy PH. This is your Coach Ken signing off.